Hello, this is Victoria from Mindful Bamboo, and today we're doing a special edition reading dedicated to the upcoming full moon in Libra that will be peaking for the majority of us on planet Earth. It will be happening on the 12th of April. And then, of course, based on where you are, you can check the times. I believe that for EST time zone that I'm located at, it will be around 7 a.m., something like that. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna first of all go through some themes, or rather some affirmations for this full moon in Libra. I'll speak a little bit about the energy, what it's for, what it's like, how to use it, maybe a quick reminder for those who already know quite a lot about full moon energy and how to work with it. But yeah, I got the Spiritual Junkie deck here by Gabby Bernstein, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull 3 cards with affirmations that are gonna be important and gonna be helpful during this full moon in Libra. And then I've got my tarot deck here. This is the Dream Keepers deck, and this will be guidance for each individual zodiac sign. So we'll go around. We're in Aries season right now, so we'll start with Aries and we'll go around the zodiacal cycle up till Pisces. So you'll be able to get more specific messages of what this is about, or what to watch out for your specific signs. And of course, that I'm doing readings for Sun, Moon, and Rising. The same stands here, but since we are talking about full moon energy, I do recommend starting with the message for your moon sign. And it's not very difficult to find out. It is important, however, to know the time of birth, not just the date, but the time as well. Without it, it's not going to be reliable information, because the moon changes its position quite frequently, and at different parts of the day it can actually be at different signs. So with all that said, let's get into it. Of course, please, if you enjoy what I'm doing, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you are new. Stay up to date on everything that I'm uploading. We do the horoscopes monthly for each individual sign, and horoscopes for April are on the channel, so you can check them out. And of course, I do this kind of special edition readings where we go deeper on like specific topics, usually tied to some astrological events, but not always. All right, so let's see what the themes are. And to begin with, of course, I'm going to remind you that full moon energy is usually the opportunity to see into something fearful, problematic, sensitive that we don't usually have the capacity to see, right? That if you think about the symbolism of the process of that full moon illumination of the earth at night, it's that time where, especially if you are somewhere in nature, you can actually see very well. You can follow the moonlight for your journey. You don't really need any other light. Actually, even if you're not in the woods, it doesn't really matter. What I meant is that if you don't have other like artificial sources of light, then you can really see how powerful it is, right? And then with that said, you're able to see certain unpermissible feelings, certain hidden emotions that you've been suppressing, right? And now what do you do with that? You face it, right? And that's where the famous "you feel it, you heal it" comes in. You can heal it, you can release that burden gets to be removed, right? You get freed for something new and beautiful instead of the old, painful, or fearful energy. Because this is full moon in Libra, Libra is an air sign. It is recommended, especially if you're doing some kind of rituals, it is recommended to work with the element. So how do you work with the air? Yeah, of course, if you have an opportunity to be in the air, to fly, I don't know, skydiving, like in February I did an indoor skydiving experience. And that was the first time in my life, and I'm not a big fan of those things, but it was a lot of fun, it was a very interesting experience. And I wouldn't say that it was like this big spiritual moment for me, but whenever you're doing something unfamiliar, right, maybe even scary a little bit, which this was for me, it brings up more stuff, it brings up insights, it brings up fears, and definitely gives you a lot of food for thought, as it did for me. So please go for it. But apart from that, of course, go into the spaces that are open, where you can work with the wind. And you know, wind has been pretty symbolic in like every major culture in the world, right? Like it's personified, like it has its own consciousness. So you can address the wind, you can ask for the help, you can show gratitude to the wind. You can also work with the words and songs. And here, this could be a completely separate video where I can walk you through how we basically, you know, how they say the spelling, right? And what we say, what we sing into the universe, especially if it's like, you know, yeah, so it has potent power, right? We're basically producing spells, right? We're spelling it out. That's really what creates our reality, if you will. So it's always important to watch how you speak about yourself, your life, others, everything. But at this time, it can be powerful to actually go into the ritual, to actually manifest what is it that you want, or to leave behind, or to forgive, you know, again, whatever topics are coming up for you during this time in your life. You can definitely work with that. And so I've given you some ideas, and now I'm leaving it to you, and we'll go into the themes because I already have 2 cards here, and I'll pull the 3rd card and we'll work with this. So the first theme / affirmation is I cherish every cell in my body. Yeah, and that can go very much with what I was just talking about with the spells and how you talk about yourself and your story, right? So in showing gratitude, I cherish every cell. Think about every cell of your body and the work that your cells do constantly, right? To maintain your livelihood, to support you in everything that you do in life, right? And of course it starts with the cells, but overall it goes down into the cherishing, into showing gratitude to your body and how it's been serving you, how it's been your temple. Even if there are certain things where your body may be weak, according to you, or you know, may not be fully healthy, and maybe you feel limited somewhere, but trust me that your body is doing its best with what it's got. So it's really important to be more mindful and more specific, more intentional with these things. The second card, guidance is available to me now. I know that angels, ancestors, and spirit guides are always at hand. I do not walk alone. Yes, and you can turn it into the wind and see the wind as one of your guides. Or you can just show appreciation to the guides and ancestors for everything that they've done. Everything that they're doing for you in the guidance, meaning you don't walk alone, but also what they've done during their lifetime, right? To build up for the life that you're having now, right? For you to even be here. And the 3rd card, there is no such thing as a mistake. Everything happens in divine order. I'm being guided to learn and grow. Yeah, and this is also, to me, definitely goes back into self-talk and how we talk to ourselves and to other people. You know, think about your last day, maybe week, right? And think about certain events that didn't go your way, or you know, just something that you maybe didn't do as well as you would want to, right? And try to reframe that. Use this opportunity and the element of air in this way to reframe and revisit, like see how you can present this storyline differently. I don't know, I'll give you a very quick example. I went for a nap yesterday, and it was in the evening time, but I had really bad sleep the night before, and so you know, I was feeling very tired by like 6 p.m. understandably. So I was like, okay, I still have a lot that I want to do, so you know what, I will lay down, I will take a power nap, and I'll feel better, and then I'll continue. One of my general mantras, you know, and guidelines for myself, that you know, it's better to give yourself time to rest and recharge, and then you can carry on with fresh and new energy, and you can accomplish a lot more than just, you know, push yourself to the limit. And what happened, essentially, I fell asleep. I did maybe even like a quick meditation or something. I fell asleep and I woke up. It was late at night. It was maybe like 10 p.m. And I was like, you know what? I really need this. So I didn't take shower, like prepare for the sleep, like nothing like that. But I just like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bed. I'm going to be sleeping. And I slept till like 6:30 this morning. So essentially I slept for 12 hours. And yes, and I gave myself time to wake up slowly in the morning. And it was amazing. But of course, the rational part of my brain goes immediately into like, oh my God. So those items on my to-do list that I was going to do yesterday, that was important to do yesterday, I didn't do. And of course, that puts more pressure now on today and tomorrow, because my last 2 days, one day I'm doing a live event in my building. So I'll be focused and busy with that. And then Monday I'm going to be packing and I have a couple of appointments. So that's going to be a full-on day that, you know, I didn't want to schedule any more things for it, right? And now I'm like, my immediate reaction is like, oh my God, this was a mistake. But I also understand that at this moment, I just, first of all, feel so peaceful and restored. And at the same time, I understand that this is what my body needed. This is what I needed. So right now, this is the best thing that I could have done for it. And yes, maybe I will not accomplish as much this week as I wanted to. And because I'm going to be on leave next week, then it will get postponed till like 2 weeks from now, which sometimes is a big deal because timing is everything. But I do trust that everything happens in divine order and divine timing. And this is a big ass trust level that I sincerely wish that all of you guys have. And you can, even if your mind jumps into concluding something as a mistake, you can rephrase it, reframe it, and trust that that was something that happened in alignment and happened in divine order. And if anything, you can learn from it, right? Even if it's something that you don't want to repeat again. But now you have more information. So either way. Okay, with all that said, now let's move on to tarot. And we'll start with Aries and see what guided messages we have for Aries today. What do Aries need to know during this full moon? We have the Star and the Death and Three of Wands. Wow. Wow. Well, I tell you what, with the Star and the Death, they're pretty dramatic energies, I would say, overall. But this is like changing your life for the better, right? Like something is going away for sure, but that's the energy that we kind of want and expect. And this is a good time for it to kind of part with it. You know, like when somebody dies, people do tend to have mourning rituals, you know, to find peace, to be able to say goodbye and release that energy. And it's very powerful. So hopefully you're not actually losing anyone, but whatever is ending in your life, you are allowed to have that morning ritual and give yourself morning time to part with it, but not to dwell on it too long, right? Not also to be in the pity mode, but be able to set intentions for something new and beautiful. And the Star energy is telling me that there's a lot major healing happening with this departure, which is again another beautiful energy supported by the full moon, right? Oh, and I didn't speak about the Libra energy, by the way, but this woman is in Libra. So it also helps find peace or reconcile relationships, right? And if you're thinking that this is actually about your relationship and you're like, wow, that's not even funny, but it might as well help you reconcile your relationship with yourself, with somebody else important in your life, or meet finally that person that will value you, give you love and support that you deserve, and you know, who you will see as your person, who will see you and you will see them. So don't forget to kind of free, like I like this because it's like standing on a cliff, and again, to me it's like working with this energy of air, right? Maybe you can do something like that where you live, you know, just go outside and work with it that way. But also it is about trusting the process, right? This is like waiting for the ships to come in. You don't need to push, you don't need to force anything. It is about you trusting the process and working through the feelings that come up for you. Now we go into Taurus. What does Taurus need to know during this time? Two Two of Wands, Three of Cups, and Two of Cups. Wow. First of all, these Two of Wands to me in this deck specifically is a little bit different than what you usually see, because if you notice, there is this lady who is looking at their reflection, kind of, and they're seeing a completely different picture. So to me, this card always means of like recognizing something about yourself that maybe you didn't before, or you know, like you didn't see yourself authentically before, and now you're recognizing it. It could be something subjectively positive or negative about yourself, you know, like maybe people kept telling you you're stubborn and you kept saying no, 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 right? And you're suddenly seeing, oh my god, I actually am stubborn. Or the other way around, maybe you, I don't know, didn't like something about your appearance. We're talking about mirror here, right? And you're suddenly like, wow, but you know, like, and maybe your loved one, like your partner, keeps giving you compliments about that part of your look, and you're like, you know what, I am beautiful. I never really saw it that way, but I guess I am. Right? So it's recognizing something new about yourself, and with that recognition was accepting yourself, let's put it that way, right? You know, this new energy of joy and love comes in. And yes, Two of Cups is the quintessential soulmate card, right? It can be a lover, can also be a friend, a mentor, somebody very important in your life is coming in, or you're recognizing that this energy is very important to you if that person is already in your life. But it also brings in joy. It almost like it starts very innocently, very joyfully, kind of like having fun. Maybe you met at a party, you know, maybe you were playing an actual game together, who knows, right? But suddenly you're like, wow, like, is that possible? I just met my person with no specific intention like that, but it happened. And you'll be thinking that these events are disconnected, but this message is saying to you that they are. Once you've accepted yourself more, you are able to meet someone who really is in alignment with the true you, because that's how you show up in the world now. Lovely. Okay, that was Taurus. Now we go to Gemini. What does Gemini need to know during this full moon in Libra? Gemini is also an air sign like Libra, so... Oh no, I didn't mention Libra at the beginning. I went into the mode of talking about working with air. But yeah, Libra, of course, is a more specific air sign. It talks a lot about, there is a lot about balance. It's a lot about relationships and win-win partnerships, kind of like making friends and living happily ever after. Okay, we've got Queen of Wands, Three of Pentacles, and Eight of Pentacles. More earthy for you. A little bit of fire. Yeah, there may be some dreams that are going to be coming up for you during this time, and or new, like dreams, I mean, like at night that you're seeing, or maybe you will be daydreaming, kind of like some new inspiration, new dreams are going to come your way. And this message is for you, Gemini, to recognize that they're not like dreams that, you know, blue dreams we say sometimes, you know, cherished dreams that deep down you think will never come true. That, oh, in the ideal world that would be great, but yeah, that's not gonna happen. Right? This is for you to believe that it's gonna happen and to dive into that energy for a moment, see your life in that new energy, right? And then of course here it's like, well, you know, you'll have everything you need to make it happen. Yes, you'll need to put in some work, but you'll meet people who will help you there. You'll have the resources that you need. You'll be able to do it, right? As long as you, again, accept it, you recognize this dream as something that's important to you, something that brings value and creates impact in your life. It's definitely that, you know, everything else is gonna come along for that, you know? And you are a hardworking person that can make it happen. Even if right now it seems like a million miles apart from where you are, but you are starting somewhere. You're taking first step, second step, third step, and the rest of the steps will appear. And if it's your dream, it's always worth investing in it, right? Because I'm immediately hearing some of you saying, oh my God, but how do I even know if it's worth my time and energy, right? Yes, it is. If it's your dream, it is. So that was for Gemini. Now let's go to Cancer. What does Cancer need to know during this full moon in Libra? Five of Swords, High Priestess, and Five of Cups. Wow. Yeah, I feel like for you it is the morning experience, like morning, M-O-U-R-N, you know, saying goodbye to something from the past and freeing yourself up really from, like, this is a particular Five of Swords, and it's almost like this, you feel like you've made a mistake in the past, but this mistake is trapping you now, from stopping you from walking towards what you want in life and from recognizing your own beauty and gifts. High Priestess is very spiritual, very intuitive, right? And a healer as well. So it's like this person who's naturally a leader and a very wise person too. You have all these beautiful energies within you, and they're asking to be unleashed, to be freed up, so that you can live more fully, you know, you can find that fulfillment and create the impact that you can create with them. But you need, first of all, to stop mourning the past, whether it's a relationship or an old way of living, maybe some habits, you know, maybe you like actual losing some, I don't know, objects, property, money, whatever, right? It's time to find peace with it, to find emotional closure. And depending on what it is, it will be different. I don't have time to talk about it now, but if you're interested in that topic, if it's been painful to let go, to find peace, you can, in the description box, there's a playlist of my podcast, of my show, Mindfully Awake. And you'll be able to go there and find a search for episode that talks about closure. And then the Five of Swords, of course, is like it's like you feel like you can't really move forward, but it is a perception, and that's the energy to work with here, right? Like something like, I don't really deserve, or I don't do well, you know, whatever the storyline is. You can be saying, I don't do well with money, like I'm not good with that, or I don't do well when I need to work with you know, a lot of people, like I'm not good with it. Whatever that storyline is, it needs to change because it's trapping you in the old energy. Okay, that was for Cancer. Now Leo. What does Leo need to know during this full moon in Libra? Okay. Seven of Swords, Six of Pentacles, Nine of Wands. It kind of flipped, but I turned it anyway, but I now realized that I probably should have kept it flipped over. Seven of Swords, this lady is wearing a mask. The masks come off naturally during full moon, as they do. It could be your mask, by the way, or it could be somebody else who wasn't honest, wasn't truthful with you. And then we have Nine of Wands and Six of Pentacles. So whatever it is, it's supposed to show you how you are supposed to embrace your fears and really use them as power. Use them as, how do I say this? They are your power. And that's what gives you the edge, and that's what makes you knowledgeable in this topic, in this area of life. And you can share it with others, because other people can really benefit from it in a good way, you know, like find comfort, or find peace, or learn new skills, depending on what it is, right? So, you know, whatever you've been through, I don't know, let's just say as an example, you got divorced, or you went through a health problem that was it seemed a big issue, and now you've overcome it, right? And it might even be uncomfortable to talk about it, but this is exactly what will be powerful to hear for other people who haven't gone through this process, who are still struggling, and you can show them the way, or at least get them inspired for, you know, showing them that there is life on the other side, and it can be a much happier, you know, authentic and fulfilling life if you want it to be, you know, and how change your life and stuff like that. So, you know, stories that we find shameful or embarrassing, or even, you know, like just like generally painful to talk about, to tell, a lot of times they are the ones that are the most powerful and can help. Telling a story itself can help us heal, right? And more than that, it helps other people. So essentially that energy that it has a ripple effect, first of all, but it is very powerful, potent energy that you're sending out into the world. And of course, in that case, it returns back to you tenfold. So you'll be rewarded for that. But you need to trust the process first. And that's one of the cards that we had about the divine order, and that you don't walk alone. Okay, that was Leo, and now we go into Virgo. All right. Queen of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, 6 of Cups. Wow. So you are unlocking new ways to find success, abundance, recognition, whatever is valid for you, or whatever is in your context. You know, during this time, some new business ideas might come up to you, or all of a sudden somebody calls you and invites you to their, I don't know, TV show to give an interview, and it just, you know, it becomes viral, and your life just turns crazy overnight or something like that. You know, it's one of those energies, really. And as much as you may be thinking, I am not sure that I'm even ready for that, or things like that don't happen to me, but it's important to show up in this energy of strength and energy of like, I got this. I'm already successful. I'm busy, you know, I create impact, you know, and I'm a subject matter expert in my field, let's put it that way. The other side of it is about letting go something from the past. It could be just a past memory, it could be something from childhood, like inner child work, that something's coming up for you. I mean, it has, like, this Six of Cups actually has kids on it, so it might actually be from childhood, some kind of old story. It's coming to the surface, and if that's the case, and again, it feels uncomfortable, like you don't really feel like talking about it, talk about it. This is your confirmation that the story is important. Or at least talk to yourself, have that self-talk, or put it in a journal. Remember what that story was about. Why was it special? Especially if it was painful. What caused that pain? You know, do a little bit of that self-inquiry and self-coaching of like, why do you become so sensitive when you talk about it? Why was it a big deal? And just keep writing. And it's gonna provide important insight into how it impacted your life in a way that, you know, is still impacting your life, and how you can find some kind of release, or at least acceptance and understanding in facing the story honestly and truthfully. You can also, of course, ask your guides to help you heal this pain and find release if you feel like it's still very much relevant and active. Okay, next we're gonna go to Libra. Ten of Pentacles, Six of Swords, the Emperor. Wow. So, Libra, this is, first of all, you know, this full moon is happening in your sign, so it will impact you, of course, directly. For me, this is like finding comfort and finding peace with the success that you have, with the power that you have. You know, Libras are actually, because you're the opposite energy of Aries, you may feel uncomfortable in the position of power. You know, Aries, the Emperor energy is Aries. You know, it's like, it's all, like, it's not all, but it's me, myself, and I, you know, like, I'm in the center of attention. I like being in charge. I like other people tending to me, stuff like that. Libra is the opposite in the context of, like, I want this to be good for you too, you know, like, let's find compromise where we're both happy, right? Non-confrontational, all that stuff. So it might be for a moment, especially if you get into this and people start asking you questions like, how would you want this to happen? You know, what would you like? Like we'll do anything you want, or give you lots of options, and it's like, it's your choice, just let us know. And you may be uncomfortable with like just going with what you want. So maybe this is the perfect time to ask yourself, what do you want? Not your family and friends, not your audience, not your business partners, but not what is being asked for you in business, right? Because You know, there's lots of success here, but among like everything else going on around you, it's important to finally ask yourselves those maybe uncomfortable questions of like, what do I actually want? Where is my peace? Right? With the Six of Swords. I love that this person is actually, if you look at it, like she's flying, right? But it is like, so what does that picture look like for you? Maybe do a little bit of a meditation exercise where you're picturing your best day. What would it be like? Who is surrounding you? What do you do? And don't make it like, I go to work, this is a day off, no work. What do you do for yourself? That's your homework, Libra. Next, we go to Scorpio. Let's see what Scorpio needs to know during this full moon. The Fates, Queen of Wands, and Ace of Swords. The Fate sounds like very much a Scorpio thing, you know, very dramatic. Although it's in this deck, this is the Wheel of Fortune card, and Wheel of Fortune is Sagittarius energy. Yeah, so some truth is coming up for you, Scorpio, about who you are and what you aspire to be. What is your purpose here, even? You know, it may come to you in a dream, can be in a meditation, or can be just by the way of, you know, the universe bringing someone or something to you that will highlight that to you, you know. And we saw the card about divine order, and also about guidance that is available to you, so you can actually ask for that. But also remember that it's important to be curious. Like, the universe is already bringing this information to you, right? It's just about paying attention. It's about listening, observing, being curious, right? I love the Ace of Swords here because that's the moment of truth, you know. That's the card of the truth coming to the surface that you didn't recognize before. Maybe you thought it was just foolish, or, you know, it was something silly that you did for yourself while nobody was watching you. And now it's like, wow, but this can actually unlock something very powerful for me, and I can show up in a new energy. I'll tell you what, Scorpio, I used to think about that. I used to be very serious. I mean, I'm still a serious person generally, but I've always been, which was, of course, much funnier when I was a kid. But I've always been serious and always like very responsible and very focused on things that like are supposedly important in life, you know, that you talk about and people are like, oh, good thing, good thing. My mom still, when we have a talk on the phone, she's still like asking if I'm working or what am I working on, or like, go continue working. Like, for her, like, that's the main thing, you know, like work is above everything else. And I'm like, I could care less. And half of the stuff I do for work, I don't really even consider work as much. I don't have 9-to-5 job, you know, like for me, that concept of work doesn't exist. But I must say that I used to think in a similar way of like kind of a frivolous or silly activity about my interest in dance, singing, and you know what, it all transformed my life, right? And of course, with time, like I found at least enough inspiration and strength to go into it fully, you know, to give it more of my energy, more of my time. Plus, the deeper I went with my spiritual journey, the more I saw the connections, right? And how it was not only supporting me, but actually showing me additional sacred knowledge that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So I moved from a phrase that I would say even like 10 years ago. I kept saying the phrase, and again, if you were watching at the beginning where I talked about how what we say, the self-talk is the spells that we're sending out into the world, right? Like, imagine how much can you change your life just by talking differently about yourself and your life. So I kept saying the phrase, I'm not a dancer, I don't dance. And now I moved to the part of my life where I put dancers like in a list of things that I am. But for me, it's a list of things, and it's like one of the many, right? But I do know people who are introducing me as a dancer, or who remember me as a dancer. How about that? I'm still the same person. And yes, I've put in time and effort into training as a dancer. But it's not like I was like, you know, I'm gonna put in the training so that I become a dancer, so that it becomes part of my persona. But it does take trust, and you never know how beautiful the outcome might be. Okay, let's move on to Sagittarius with that. Immediately we have King of Wands, which is, it's a fire energy, and Sag is a fire card. So very much your card. Strength and Tower. Wow. People are getting all this major arcanas. This is crazy. The Tower is the Aries energy. Strength is Leo. Both of them are also fire. They're not your sign, but they are fiery. So we have all fire here. And who would do better with fire energy than a fire sign? Oof. But you know what? The Tower and the Strength to me are saying that some kind of old structure is falling down at this time. And yes, you'll need all the strengths that you have. You'll need all your passion and drive and faith, actually, to be able to go through it and not collapse and not be desperate, but actually see it as the opportunity to be strong and to find new sources of inspiration in your life, right? Or to be creative with it. Sagittarius is a very creative energy and very enthusiastic as well. So this is the time to ignite that in yourself, to be fully you, right? And see this, okay, yes, this broke down, bad luck kind of thing, you know? And give yourself some time to accept it, to mourn it, to release it, right? But then it's supposed to give you space and energy and inspiration for something new and beautiful. So that old stuff is, you've outlived it, basically. You are in a different space now, and something new is being asked to appear in your life, which you didn't have space for because of that old thing. And now you will, and you know, use it wisely. Use that capacity, that space, I don't know, whatever that context is, wisely, for something that truly matters to you, that truly excites you, that represents you. Okay, we'll move to Capricorn now. What does Capricorn need to know during this full moon in Libra? Okay, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, and Three of Wands. Yeah, so some kind of new business opportunity is coming into your life, Capricorn. But it will come in if you spend some time taking care of yourself. And you know, you're very good at like building and creating, and you are an earth sign, and Pentacles are earth energy, right? You're great at following the process and creating something new, something stable, right? But a lot of times it's still for like the everyone's good, you know, for like I'm taking care of people around me, right? I'm doing this for the society at large. And the universe is asking you to shift the focus to yourself right now and build something for yourself. I keep hearing this line, build something for yourself. Maybe for some of you it's gonna be literally building, especially if you're in that world, you know, you could be specializing in something, you know, construction wise maybe, and you're always building for someone else. But it's like right now you need to, you know, fix that roof or extend that kitchen as you've wanted for years. So whatever that is, so maybe come up with a completely new idea. If you look at your space and think, what do I want to build for myself? What do I want right now, right? And be like, oh yes, bingo, let it fly to you, the answer, right? Let the inspiration appear. Do your mindful ritual of a meditation, a prayer, maybe time in nature. I already saw this card in one of the previous messages, and to me it speaks towards like standing on the cliff and working with that energy of the wind. You know, whatever works for you, but this is the time to build for yourself. That's your headline, and some new opportunity, exciting opportunity is going to come out of that you didn't even realize. Or maybe for you, building something for yourself means that you'll need to spend money on yourself. You're like, oh, I'm not sure I can do that. I've got like, you know, little kids that I need to provide for. But this will actually create opportunity for building abundance. So you just need to trust it. Okay, next we're gonna go to Aquarius. Aquarius immediately got 6 of Wands in reverse. And Four of Swords, Eight of Swords. Look at all the swords. And Aquarius is an air sign, so yes, this is like up your alley, but air signs often take it too far and overthink. You know, it's like when analytical mind is your essential part of you, you tend to take it too far. Overuse it. Abuse it. Six of Wands is in reverse, so to me it's time to stop thinking about what other people think, how they will perceive you, whether they will think you're successful, you're cool, you're strong, you're powerful. Like it's not like that's not important in life at all, but right now it's not important, and it shouldn't be your main motivation for doing anything, really, right? Like that's the ego talking. And what it's causing you to do, because you are kind of obsessed about this, you have the energy here where you can't fully rest, you can't fully recharge, you can't let yourself be you, and that's what's important. That's what's coming up for you right now. So give yourself the time to rest, time for peace. The busier it seems like you are supposed to be to manage the situation or solve the problems around you or get into that next step of popular recognition or whatever it is, like do the opposite, right? Like leave those things for a day or two and give yourself time and space to just be with you. And notice what your inner self-talk is. Because Eight of Swords is negative self-talk, like 101, you know? And see how you talk about your life and why this is what you're missing so much. Why is this so important? Dig deeper. Ask yourself good questions. And start reframing and rephrasing your life where you see opportunities, where you have can-do attitude. And not because you're like overcoming these huge barriers and obstacles in your life, but because you are capable and you have all those competencies, you know? And maybe if there is a barrier somewhere, like it's not always the best idea to keep breaking through it and just going at it, right? Maybe you're being asked to focus on something else. So look for those opportunities, be creative, and notice why you want to pursue them. Because right now it's really important to find something that will be for you personally, for your emotional well-being, for your joy, and not like, okay, but I'm gonna be, I don't know, I'll gain popularity and then I'll be joyful because of that. No. Something more specifically for yourself that other people may not even know about, and it will still make you happy. Like, think about that question. Like, I don't even need to tell anybody, right? Will that make me happy if other people don't know about it and I'm just happy in silence? And last but not least, we're going to Pisces. The Hanged Woman, the Star, and the Knight of Wands. The Hanged Woman is Sagittarius energy, and then we have the Star, which is Aquarius, and Knight of Wands. Definitely, it's important to sort of like give yourself some break and reframe your reality from a place of inspiration and passion. And it's actually very interesting because in this particular deck, Knight of Wands, Knights are usually very, like, it's very fast energy, it's like movement forward, it's communication. In this card, if you notice, the Knight of Wands is not really moving. It's actually a guy who's just standing behind this statue of armor in a museum or something, or a castle at least. You know? It's like, if you really take a closer look, it's very different vibration. But it is about inspiration, right? It's about energy. So you don't really need to take a lot of actions to move forward, right? It's more about notice why you get excited about it, what you get excited about, right? Like, what is driving it? What is behind it? And see how you can make a more meaningful choice. Not just like, okay, some kind of impulse comes into your space and you feel obliged to deal with it, right? You just jump on it, or some opportunity is thrown your way and you go there, right? And you spend the day talking on the phone and negotiating with people because it's like, ooh, this is a hot opportunity, I need to jump on it, right? But this is almost like the opposite, right? And this is about seeing your, what's the word? What the intention is or the bias is right now, and change it into something that's truly meaningful to you, that you're passionate about, Not just because it's going to bring you some kind of external validation and success, but because it feeds your soul, because it's in alignment with your passion for life. And this is going to have a completely new level of meaning and success, but in your own right. Not because other people are going to tell you about it, because you'll be like, wow, this is so powerful. I never imagined I could be doing something like that. But I am, and this is like, whoa. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. This was full moon reading for full moon in Libra that is happening on April 12th, 2025. I love you all. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time,